in July, and going in August, I was in severe pain. Had to go to the ER to a different surgeon that I really trust. And he did an exam under anesthesia. And you know what we found out? We found out that there was a cavity in my pelvis. My tissue and my muscle was eaten away into a cavity in my pelvis, and I had this empty space that was collecting fluid and causing infections, and it was severe pain. And they were like, now that your muscle is missing, we have to fix that. And at this point, we still didn't know I had Crohn's. We didn't know that I had a Crohn's infection underlying. We had no idea. Just irresponsibly operated on me at this point with no official diagnosis. And now I'm like freaking out. I go to a plastic surgeon that works with the other surgeon. I had no other option at this point because I didn't want to go to him. But there were only a handful of people who could do that surgery. So I go to him and he's like, you know, we're gonna have to take a muscle graft from your left leg. And I was like, what does that mean? And he's basically like, we have to fill the cavity in your pelvis by taking your gracilis muscle and physically pulling it into your pelvis. And at that point, I had thought they're gonna take the graft out, right? They're gonna take out the muscle and put it in my pelvis. Nope. No, they actually took the muscle and just pulled it into my pelvis. No, like they physically lengthened it and pulled it into my pelvis, and it is still attached to my leg. It is, let me show you right. It is attached from here, and I have 3 gigantic scars here because they physically pulled it in my pelvis, and it is still tethered here. In the beginning, when I first had this surgery, every time I moved, every time I felt my leg move, it was like something was pulling in my pelvis. It was the worst surgery I've ever had in my life, and I have had surgery over 50 times, and I woke up from that. I wasn't able to walk straight for like 2 months at least. I had 2 drains in. First time in my entire life that I ever thought I was gonna pass out from pain. He took me into his office after the 2-week follow-up and went to remove the drains. There were 2 of them, and one was straight in my pelvis, and yanked it, and oh my god. I can't describe to you the horrors that went through my mind at that point. And this was all because he decided to remove my anus and didn't tell me. And unfortunately, I was dealing with so many medical issues just back to back that I couldn't even go to a lawyer. And then I finally went to one this year in January. And the statute of limitations in New Jersey is only 2 years. I didn't even know that he did something he shouldn't have done until I went to see my doctors at Mount Sinai, and they sat me down and they were like, he should have never done this. This was wildly irresponsible, operating without a diagnosis, not even knowing what would happen, and there was medically no reason to do all that. I cried. Like, I went home and I cried, and I was like, I cannot believe that I got operated on for no reason. If he never did that, I would have never had the muscle graft done. I would have probably been a lot better if we had known that I had Crohn's and been on Remicade and proceeded with this differently. I might have never had to have had all of these surgeries, and now here I am living with the effects of it to this day. And even on days when my Crohn's flares up and I get abscesses or something, my muscle graft hurts so bad. I'm going through it right now. I'm flaring up so horribly, and I could barely walk yesterday. It was bad. So yeah, word of advice, if you ever get a sinking feeling in your stomach and you just really don't trust the doctor you're going to, I felt it before and I didn't think. I didn't think. If you ever get that feeling, don't do it. Don't do it. Take your time. If you have the luxury of taking time, take your time. Research who you're seeing, and don't do anything unless you're sure, because I lived with the consequences of that, and it was crazy. It was wild, and I still, like, I tell the story and I laugh, because I'm like, yep, he did that. My friends will be like, oh my god, like, I can't believe what you went through. I'll, like, tell new people, and I'm like, I'm fucking crazy, right? Like, I'm wild. I'll tell new people, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, so, like, I got this removed, and oh yeah, I did have a muscle graft done, and oh yeah, you did it without my permission, so, you know, that was kind of cool. And they're all like, they'll, like, side-eye me and be like, are you good? And I'm like, no, I'm not. Clearly, I'm using humor to cope. But honestly, like, what can you do at this point? But I just, yeah, that's my wild medical story. I never thought I'd be at this point in my life. I used to be so normal, but I don't know. I have all these weird stories racked up. That was probably the worst of it, though. I've had more, but that was probably the worst. Yeah. Thanks for listening to my entire rant while I do my makeup. And I just hope that no one else goes through what I went through. But, yep, that's where we're at. So, love y'all.